This controller I've been waiting for several weeks. It's probably close to 2 months now, back order, but getfpv.com is something that a lot of people talk very highly of, and I've seen that they are kind of the staple in the community for where to buy this gear. And I have been able to reach out to them, and they've gotten back to me in like 2 hours, just updating me on like, you know, when the last order came in, when it's going out, that kind of stuff. So again, buying from a good company, or one that the community suggests at least, is mostly about the customer service when it comes to these types of things. This is the controller that I actually wanted, that I went out to buy. You can still see it's on back order here. This is the TBS, or Team Black Sheep Tango II Pro version of the controller, which just means the gimbals inside of the left and right thumbstick are a little bit smoother and will last a little bit longer, much longer I should say, and that they fold down, which I don't know how big of a deal that is, paying like an extra $30 for those two things. I was like kind of on the fence with, but I'm like, if I'm going to spend, you know, $150 on a controller or $200 on a controller, I'd rather spend the extra $50 and make it last a little bit longer, or even make the resale value go up if I decided that this isn't something I wanted to stay into long term. The reason I like this one over a lot of the older ones and more tried and true gear, which is something I usually go for, is just because of the form factor. Not only does it look like you know, PS3 controller, whatever number they're on now, so it's something that I'm used to because I've played a lot of video games growing up, but also it's just way smaller to travel with, which that's going to be something that I plan on doing quite a lot with these controllers and all this gear, and just having stuff take up less space is always nice. So that's why I went with this one. And also I only plan on flying FPV and quadcopters, so having a bunch of other options and switches and dials and stuff on there is not something that I'm going to be using in future. At least I don't think I will be. Two other things that I bought to go with this controller is this module that's going to go on the back. So the default signal that this sends is Crossfire. This is like kind of the nerdier side of things, but if you're going to look at this as the stuff you need to know, which means that it can only pair with drones that have a Crossfire receiver on them, which most of the mini whoops that I'm flying do not have Crossfire, because Crossfire is for mostly bigger drones that want to go farther and have a better connection. This is the module that I bought that will go on the back. It's $60, so it's even more expensive than the controller that I have now, but it will allow me to pair with things on other frequencies. I'm not sure if that's even the right verbiage there, but basically I can transmit with OpenTX and Freedom TX. Newbie drone, the Acro B currently uses, I believe, is Freedom TX. Don't quote me on that, but it's one of these two. So I can actually send a signal to different types of drones, and these are a lot more used than the Crossfire. Even though the Crossfire is like kind of the higher end signal, these two are still important for me to be able to fly because I like flying smaller drones anyways. So the end product should look something like this. So it doesn't add too much bulk. It's actually from the manufacturer, a couple of generations of this controller, which since they're on back order, I'll be getting the newest generation of this controller. But they've actually like built it in, so it's really easy to connect these two together. You don't actually have to do any soldering, which is really nice. And then this is the form factor that I'll be flying with. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm glad that I did the research to figure all this out. It wasn't actually too hard to figure out, but just the knowledge that goes along with it. The other thing that I had to buy, and something that I'm considering printing actually, is a module bay. So this is just going to sit on the back of the controller and be a nice place for this to slot in, and to make sure that the ribbon cable doesn't get messed up when I'm plugging it in or whatever. Sorry, a lot of talking. So you actually just plug a ribbon cable straight into this controller right here, and then you cut a hole in it in the actual casing itself and run it up on the back here, and that's where it sits. So it should take, I've seen people do it on a couple of YouTube videos, it takes like all of 5 minutes to set up, which is really nice. And then you have this module on the back here. So I'm considering 3D printing this. I haven't found files for it, and this is definitely not something that I want to create myself, but maybe. So that's where I'm at. I'm I don't know, I might buy it and then still end up 3D printing one that might be slightly differently, or just be able to get the files out there. That's something I gotta look into. It just crossed my mind. I think I heard someone in a video saying that they printed theirs, and I was like, oh, I could probably do that since I have a 3D printer. So that's where I'm at with that stuff.